Good morning, all. Obviously, I did my Masters when I was 7.5-year-old. Thanks for making me feel old. Right. When I was asked by Wyatt to come over and speak, we were looking at how things can be different. So rather than talk about Skynes, what I want to do is talk about the possibilities of augmented reality, how it can change retail, and how it can actually touch, whether it be through logistics, front, back, right across. So what's next for retail? At the moment, you're all pretty familiar with IKEA and what you understand as augmented reality. So you can get your sofa, you can place it into your room and see what it looks like. Next, you've got the likes of Blipper and Lear who are using digital imaging as a trigger. So you point your phone at something and it will give you a trigger, whether that be a can of Coke, a billboard, as you've got here. And these guys have proved very successful with a hell of a lot of brands that you'll all know about. What I want to talk about first of all is emotive purchasing, because as we all know, when your emotions are high, your common sense is low, so you're more likely to spend money. So as an example, I want to transport you all to Glastonbury. We're all watching the stage. One band's finishing, another one's about to come on. Using augmented reality, we're all talking amongst ourselves, who is on next? So we just place a little virtual sign in the sky, so we'll call it a Skyne, that when you press it, it gives you the list of who's on the stage as a live feed. So it's giving real-time information to you. We find out the next band comes on is In Excess, and you're talking amongst your group, you said, oh, these were fantastic, and they did this and they did that, oh, I love their albums. But when they come on, wouldn't it be cool if you could just press that Skyne and it gives you an option or three? So what I can do is I can buy their current album straight into my iTunes onto my handset. Or I can pre-order the new album as a discount, and the discounts are there because you were in that environment at that moment in time. Or you can get today's live set. And what we've done with a live set is a long time ago, when I was doing my Masters, was going to clubs, seeing DJs, walking out, buying a tape, do you remember them? And a CD for £20. Price didn't matter. I just wanted the whole of that experience with me. From a emotive point of view, going forward, you sat in your car, you listen to the music. If you've got a normal album, they're in a different order to what a live set is. So you listen to it, you go, we're all transported back to Glastonbury on your morning, on your way into work, then all of a sudden a different song comes on. That changes things very quickly. What I want to do is you can have that, but you can only get that if you're at Glastonbury that day. So it's very exclusive, it's the offer. You'll pay £20, £30 for it because you're going to enhance your experience of being there, but it's also going to give you a memory, plus it's straight to your handset. Now, the next thing is to take shopping onto a real micro level, and I've heard a lot of people in the last day or so talking about how they are improving retail, how they're getting out to more customers and everything. My wife, who's sat in the corner of that room at the moment there, is an author. And people go, oh, what books do you write? I write chick lit, etc. Where do I find your book? Select me Skyne. So working with someone like Amazon, because their books are available on Kindle, that could be a one-click purchase directly to your handset. At the moment, it'll take you through to her buy page, linked to your one-click purchase. That's a bit of semantics that'll be removed straight away. So one-press purchase could be the future of purchasing. So I want a bit about enhancing the experience, because a lot of brands, they'll create a product, they want to do it. We've talked about how the experiences of people watching video and things, but what about in real life? Purchasing to me isn't just about paying your money over for something, for a service. It's actually about the whole transaction. How easy was it for you? How does it feel? And I think as Uber are speaking later today, you stood in the street, you're looking, I'm not quite sure which is my cab. That's my cab. I'm not looking for a number plate, I've got a visual aid to actually tell me where I'm going. But you've also got a driver who can either send you to a corner on Oxford Street or something, which is going to be a bit busy. But the driver has the opportunity And there's Jamie, my colleague, he's outside at the moment waiting for his taxi to come here. Yes, we can say drivers aren't going to be going like this with cameras, but you're not going to be far too away with wearables, Skynes windscreens, or we can put these into a system where it would just put a camera onto the dashboard. Back to the logistics side of it, because I know there's a lot of guys involved, and I know there's a lot of conversations today about how you're going to move things around quicker, whether it be through drones or robotics or whatever. But there's transport managers there, and we all get the FD telling us how much we need to increase sales, but what about the other? What about making lean processes and using augmented reality to actually improve that? So DHL, a huge company, if you see some of their distribution warehouses, you don't know where anything is. Transport manager, something as simple as that will identify a different way for them to work. Now this is one thing we at Skynes really like, is the fact that who actually does own the sky? You own the land under your building, you own your building, you own your environment. So if we take Tesco as an example, supermarket, they want to use augmented reality so you can buy an offer before you go in. Click on that, give you a discount on that day when you go in. It's not intrusive, it's not being fired to you from left, right and centre. But what I think would be really cool is if you walk in and you looked, and then Asda did that. How can Tesco stop Asda from putting that above there? They can't. And it's the same with all the big major events. They've all got these core sponsors, and oh, you can't have that in there. Who says so? Another area which is good as well is you can imagine if there's all these little signs in the sky and content, it's going to get very confusing, it's going to get cluttered, and you're going to be back to where we were before. So you get off your aeroplane, you're trying to find which one's your bus. The whole idea with this is we start channeling content, we start making it bespoke, and it's obviously hyper-local already, but we need to make it to that particular user. So how about tying it to his or her booking number? They click the app, they come in the airport, they flick it open, where's my bus? There it is. It's a hell of a lot easier when you've got two screaming kids after they've just got off a 3-hour flight to get them onto a bus in the heat. This is something I'm massively passionate about, and a few people have quoted me on this over the last 12, 18 months since I first stated it, but this, we all want bigger TV screens, but we all look at this more than a TV screen. There you go. And I watched a film a couple of weeks ago, which you've all probably seen, which is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And he said, if you don't stop once in a while and look around, you could miss life. Well, I think we're missing a lot there. So my idea isn't just to move people from looking at the phone to look at Skynes or augmented reality content. It's actually the next step forward, ready for wearables. The idea, you've got your smartwatch, you press it, your light comes on, all of a sudden your world's augmented. It's not Google Glass, because that's just taking that screen and putting it there. What I'm talking about is putting it around the world. So at the moment, if you want to navigate your way around next year's Euros, you've got a stadium, but it's on a map. A lot of companies at the moment are driving about geolocation and pushing it onto maps. 4 out of 5 people can't read maps, and it's an increasing trend. So why don't we do it like that? It's the same information, it's the same data from the same source, just presenting it in a different way. Also, with the channels, we can multi-layer content in there, so there's different things. You can find sponsors, different things can be used with a channel button at the bottom. Even get the public involved. So that is a football with a lady stood there, but the football's augmented. That could be anywhere across Europe for the things, and you've got to go, take a Skynes selfie, and then present it on social media for a leaderboard. And then if there's any golden balls you find, I'm doing the agency job here, by the way, so you get to sit with golden balls at the final if he's one of their sponsors. So there's a whole integrated campaign of using this in and around everything that you're already doing. Isn't a huge cost. In fact, it's more cost effective. Right. Another huge passion for us is visualizing search. And whether that be products, directions or whatever. So few of us will decide to have a drink after this today. Google, or any search engine, we get a list. Then we get a map, which none of us can read, and then we get a list of all those little pins on that map. What we're trying to say is, why don't you take that and do that with it? Same content, little button at the top that gives you a totally different view for the same content. It's a lot easier to see that, plus all of that's interactive. You can press it, touch it, go in, you can get an offer, walk in that shop. The shop could actually control the offers for that day just through that one link. All they've got to do is update the offer, it updates all the data. But this is where wearables comes in. Not much difference between that one and the last slide, but you're not looking at a phone. That's your view through your glasses. We're at the football, a little bit stitched into a football shirt. Players playing, we can actually take what you might get on a Sky TV on the videos and actually put that for the live audience, make that clickable. You could order that shirt for when you get home. The other part is putting the content back in the hands of the users. So this platform will allow you to place your own content. You can view it through the browser, but setting up an account, you can place your own. And this is Jamie, one of my colleagues, that's his son. We put that above his seat at Old Trafford for him to actually go and sit. And the whole experience of going to Old Trafford to see Manchester United play against his home team was totally amplified by it all. That could easily be sponsored content. The next cool thing is, using geolocation rather than trigger, we can place one-to-one scale models anywhere on the planet. This one is just a wind farm for planning purposes, but you could easily see how it could be a store on a high street where there is currently just a gap between two shops. So that would allow the retailers who are purely online to have a presence on the high street without actually having a physical location. Something else I suggested as well for children was, how about when the parents are walking around, you click on something like Amazon or one of the online stores, and they select the Christmas list. So when they're walking along behind the man, one-to-one little models appear, like a remote control car or a Lego or a drone or a bike, and they can press it and have a look at it and walk around it with the phone. I think they'll want to go shopping a lot more with the parents if they do. And then taking this back to the personal thing again, this gives you the ability to place your own content. So whether it's retail or anything, this applies to every single person in the room. Have you ever get lost at a festival? Ever been able to find your friends? Ever lost your car in a car park? Lost your tent at a festival? I track my kids with this. I put a little thing in the pocket. This weekend we go to a winter wonderland, and I can go like that, and no matter where they are, I know exactly. They don't know I know. So what I'm going to do is just give you a quick sample of what it actually looks like. Bear with me 1 second. Right. Okay, ready? There you go. So out the back of the toilets is just there. If we scan across, my bag's in the corner with my phone in. My other one, the main entrance, so we press that. We can pan round. But then if we click the channels in the bottom corner, we get the different options. So if we click the retail exhibitors, changes the content. Oh, Royal British Legion. Straight through to their site. Oh, Bottle of Hague. Ah, that's my treat for speaking. Oh, we've got another one. Oh, anyone for Smirnoff? That's only display, but I think it's a bit early. And then as we go on, we've got a bit of Bentley, which takes you all the way through and downloads their product. So using this, it'll allow you to place all of this content. It'll allow you to access the content. And with the same platform, it'll also allow you to, if I press this button here, place one above my head. So anyone else looking for me will be able to find me. And Sophie will shortly have one above her head as well. And then you can drop a scan where you are and then walk off. So this isn't just for me on the stage here. This actually has provided you as well with an opportunity to have a go yourself. So on the back of your lanyard, there's a QR code. If you scan your QR code, it'll let you download Skynes. Also, if you haven't got a QR code reader, just go to iOS or Android and download it. Sorry to the Microsoft users, but the market's just not big enough, and I'm afraid Mr. Gates was a bit tight with his budget. So really, in the break, have a wander around, have a look, experience it, and hopefully it'll fuel your imagination, because this is what we're trying to provide, is we want to provide an ecosphere of information around the world, so the world's information, and put you at the centre of it. Thank you.
Si, let me ask you about human behaviour.
Right.
So Google came up with this beautifully designed, clever tech called Google Glass, which didn't really work because humans didn't want to walk around with these self-conscious Google wearables on their faces. You're going against a trend of taking technology out of our way as we try and buy things. What convinces you that people want to add this extra virtual layer and go to the trouble of holding up their device to the sky?
Well, currently, one big issue at the moment is phones with memory. People are just putting apps after app after app. You put Facebook, Twitter, whatever, 75 to 100 meg. Some of the other AR companies are 15 to 20. Ours is 1. So what we're doing is putting the content out there and keeping it off your phone. So we're making it efficient. The other thing is, yes, there is a habit of doing that, but I truly believe with the development of the likes of Samsung and some of the glasses that are coming on now, it might be slow going from that to that, because that is a habitual change, but going from that to your glasses won't be, because the whole idea is this content is there when it's ready. It's the same with your wearable on your watch. It's there if you want it, but it's not intrusive. And that is the biggest thing, that we've developed an internal version that works over beacons, but all beacons are doing is just pushing content out. We don't want that. We don't want to be advertised to. We don't want to be slammed in the face with a billboard.
So you showed us a lot of what's possible. Let's be realistic. Who at the moment is coming to you saying, Si, we need this for our business?
Well, everything you saw there, we've already done. We delivered the Pride Festival in London for Diageo under their Smirnoff brand to show them where all the gay-friendly bars were, also where above the stage is what they're running on. And what we found was people were using it for about 90 seconds, every 35 minutes, and that went on for about 36 hours. So they were using it, interacting, back down, and then they kept using it during the day. We're currently working with some big travel companies about how they increase their flow through airports. And now the airports have looked at it and they said, well, hang on, you could get us through a lot quicker. We've had car brands approach us about how they could place one-to-one of their models. So they've already got companies producing the models, how that could be placed in a showroom and reduce the size of the showroom, or it could be placed at an event like this.
Thank you for demonstrating. From Skynes, Si Brown.
Thank you.